to the covered Lag BaOmer. We'll do a little bit of amazing limud of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, which is nogea to our sugya here. We will become New Age Kabbalists. What we're learning in the Nefesh HaChaim is the basic yesod that he keeps on putting forward, or in the middle of the Hagah, is that there's at least three parallels, two parallels to the Shamayim, which means three. So there's the Olam Yonim, which is replicated in the Mishkan and the Beit HaMikdash, and which is replicated in the Guf Adam. So you have this amazing thing that Reb Chaim Volozhin says, that not only not only is there Olam Yonim, which are seemingly infinite, and who has a Kosher and who knows and who understands just enough to even know that they're there. There's such a thing as Olam Yonim, whatever it even means. What does that mean? It's not outer space. It's something different dimension altogether. But that's replicated in the Beit HaMikdash, and it's replicated in the Adam. And if any one of those is short-circuited, then there's something missing in the entire circuit. That's the way it's supposed to flow. But the Chiddush of Yecheskel, that after the Chorban Bayis Rishon, and everybody was saying, okay, well now we don't have our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu anymore, is he said that you still have a connection. You still have a connection with the Guf Adam, with the Merkava, and then he goes ahead and says that you should build shuls, because the shuls are a mikdash ma'at. The way everybody learns that, just parenthetically, is that the shul is looks like a Beit HaMikdash a little bit. It's a mikdash ma'at. It has some shuls have a menorah and a Aron Kodesh. We all have Aron Kodesh and an Amud. So it a little bit looks like a shul. On the other hand, you're not allowed to make a shul look like a Beit HaMikdash. And the other thing is, it's like a makam of avoda. But the Omek Hadavar probably of what Yecheskel Hanavi was saying is that the avoda now has transferred from the Beit HaMikdash to the person, and the person does his avoda in shul. So it's not that the shul looks like a shtickle Beit HaMikdash. Okay, we got a little like they had in Egypt one. The Gemara says that they. It's not about that. The reason why you're not allowed to set it up to make it look really like a Beit HaMikdash is because it's not a Beit HaMikdash. It's all about the Adam. A shul is person-centered, not carbon-centered. Ezu avodah shebelev zu tefillah. So it's about what we're doing with ourselves that's important. It's not about what we're doing in the Beit HaMikdash. So we went to becoming. It's about us. It is about limud Torah, and it's about tefillah. It's a din of the gaver instead of a din of the chefza. So that's probably what he meant. Not that it looks like a shul. I want to go off on a drop of a tangent, but it's extremely important. The Gemara says, you see something fascinating here. The Gemara says in Brachot Chav Ches Amud Beis that we daven Shmona Esrei, and they knew, just the history of it is, they knew that there are Shmona Esrei brachos, but it wasn't clear exactly what the Shmona Esrei brachos were, and it wasn't clear exactly what the seder of them was, even if they knew what they were. Rafa'inu Baruch Aleinu. So Shimon Apakuli Histir as Shmona Esrei brachos biyavna means, what the Gemara means over there is that he was masader it. There were people that either reconstructed it, Gedolu Ador, which were either able to reconstruct the Shmona Esrei, or knew it, the Masorah. They had some kind of Masorah, they pieced pieces together. This was one of the big avodas of Yavne, was to be able to put the Shmona Esrei together. But the number Shmona Esrei, that was known. There was one thing that we had in our Masorah was Chai, the Shmona Esrei brachos. This, the Gemara says, Hani Shmona Esrei keneged me. How did they know? Like why is the definite number Shmona Esrei? Whatever they are. Let's say you're davening, you're davening for peace in the world. That's important. It's all important. The avos, certain things they know clearly. What the halacha blives at the end is that You can't be Mashana the Seder. Like you have to have first the Avos, like Shavach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or just Mikum. Just you have to be able to first state who are you, who am I, when we're standing in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. So that's the Avos, and then you need Haidah, Odem Anachnu Lach, and the Birchas Haidah, which includes Sim Shalom, and then in the middle is personal Tzrachim. So that order for sure couldn't change, the Gemara says, but the order of the middle wasn't clear, how that works. This is all very important, but and we have, of course, Al Pi Halacha, Shimon HaPekuli, who was a cotton picker, I think that's what Pekuli means, so he was Masader of the Shmona Esrei Brachos. They got this cotton picking genius to be Masader, the Shmona Esrei Brachos al HaSeder. So that was a huge thing to have in the Yavna, and that's what we daven today. That's how we daven today. So the Gemara says, Hani Shmona Esrei keneged me. Amar Rabbi Hillel Breder of Shlomo Bar Nachmani. Where's the 18? Keneged Shmona Esrei as Koresh Amar David. Havul Hashem b'nei Elim. Havul Hashem b'nei Elim. Havul Hashem kavod voice. That's Hashem. 18 times in Havul Hashem. It says the name of Hashem, and that's the Keneged of the Shmona Esrei Brachos. Okay.
So before that, it wasn't Shmona Esrei, before David wrote that.
No, he also, I guess, wrote it based on something.
Something, right.
But they knew it was 18. That's maybe what it means. Maybe I'm guessing is the way they knew that Masorah, they kept that Masorah alive. Is they knew that the Askarais, the Shemos of the Shem in Mizbar LaDavid was the Makar of 18. Kept the 18 alive. Nothing is,
kept it alive.
Kept it alive. Nothing was incidental. Nothing is just symbolic. Gematria it was very deep. Rabbi Yaacov Haber, Keneged Shmona Esrei Askar Shebekriya Shema. If you go into Kriya Shema, it says 18 times the name of Hashem there. What we need to be asking ourselves is, so what? 18 there, 18 here. Like, if it would have been 17, we would do 17 brachos. Amar Rav Tanchum. It also says, by the way, that doesn't say this in the Gemara, but Chazal say that in Parshas Pikudei, which is important for us, it says Kasher Tziva Hashem Es Moshe 18 times. The Medrash Tanchuma. Keneged Shmona Esrei. But when we say Keneged Shmona Esrei, our Shmona Esrei is based in that. And Amar Rabbi Tanchum, Amar Rabbi Yeshua Levi, Keneged Shmona Esrei Chuliyos Shebashidra. It's Keneged the 18 vertebrae in the spine. Why not? Can I get the 10 fingers or 10 fingers and 10 toes? You should have 20, like chapped 18 vertebrae in the spine, like a piece of gashmias.
They did an autopsy.
If they would find out there was 32 vertebrae in the spine.
Which 18?
Not 18. Well, I was saying that there's 32, and very interesting biologically. There are 32. If you look, just look at Wikipedia. There are 32 or 33 vertebrae as well. Like, what's their suffix? Like, it's very interesting. Like everywhere, there's 32 or 33. There's the question is, what do you consider
a vertebrae?
A vertebrae. Look, the maskilim or the bloggers, look at the Gemara and say, well, they obviously didn't know science. They're saying there's 18 Chulia Shebashidra. So first of all, it's just, and I saw like one of the comments on one of the blogs was that, I just saw this once, that, well, if Chazal say there's 18, then there's 18. So science is wrong. Also shtus. Chazal, first of all, they had autopsies back then, probably more so than they have today. The Gemara even talks about that there was there's a Gemara, where's the Gemara Yevamos, that there was a certain Zaina that was killed by the Melech, by the Goyim, and the Talmidim of Rabbi Shmuel took her apart to find out exactly, find the Ramach Yivarim Shesakid.
Must be 33 only on Lag B'Omer.
Huh?
There's 33 only on Lag
Lag
B'Omer.
B'Omer 33, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But if Chazal say Keneged Shmona Esrei Chulia Shebeshidra, it has to be like Dr. Reber says, that they were choosing 18 out of the 32 or 33 to be the chulios that represent Shmona Esrei. So it doesn't say that there are 18 vertebrae in the spine. It says that it's Keneged 18 of the vertebrae in the spine, which is even more interesting if you ask me. And that's what Chazal said, by the way, it's very meduyek. Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, they're all tzaddikim, and he was like unusual tzaddik. Hamispalo tzarech sheyichra. When you daven, you have to bow down. Ad sheyispakaku kol chulia shebesidra. How do you translate that, Gil? You have to bow down until
Separate.
yispakaku.
Yeah.
It says loosen. There's a Beit HaMikdash as a translation. It says the spine are loosened. All the vertebrae of the spine are loosened.
Okay, that's the same thing as Darren's saying. Separate. So yispakaku, like a pakak.
No,
So-
it's opposite. That's
No, so the pakak is both ways.
You open and close.
You open it and you close it. You open a bottle and let heat pak cake. I'm just making it up. Or you close a bottle, it is mit pak
That makes
cake.
sense, so they come apart and come together.
Right. So when Rabbi Shua ben Levi taught. Rabbi Shua ben Levi was a big makubal, by the way. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says when he went to he had a free pass to take a look at Shamayim. So they said, "What do you want to do here? What do you want to see?" He says, "I want to see Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. I want to see Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai." And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai gave him Musar, like barley voy. Are you the famous tzaddik? Like, and he gave Musar. You're not such a tzaddik. Bar Yochai was rough. Yeah, but Shimon Bar Yochai, you know all the pictures. Isn't it interesting that pictures of Shimon Bar Yochai?
Yeah.
yeah, they don't.
No, I just we're preparing for Mosaic Haggadah, so Rabbi Kiva, or the ones that were sitting by the Seder, like so. Somebody said, like, make sure you don't put pictures of the Gedolim, and they're like, we're not supposed to say a picture of Rabbi Kiva, but every Sephardi newsletter has a picture of Shimon Bar Yochai. Like, why do like? It's not even that impressive of a picture, but apparently the Rabbi Yaakov Haber, when I learned with him, was like very against that picture. Like, when he saw it, he ripped it out. ripped it out. He really was really like that's what he looked like. So I said, what did he look like? I don't know. But what he I mean, Shimon Bar Yochai, like, but over there he looks like one of the Beatles. He has like long hair and so
Yeah.
right. So there was a Messiah that he was a Nazir. By the way, that he took on himself Nazirus for Shimon Bar Yochai, and that's why he had long hair. That's part of the Messiah. Also,
No barbers in the cave.
what?
There were no barbers in the cave.
No barbers in the cave, right? The other good point. The other or wine.
Right.
What the heck? Yeah. It was also against the picture of Rambam that you find on all the Machmarot. It's just not because, but that's at least based on bothered with him because he had a trim beard. But that's at least there's a statue somewhere, I think in Cairo or something of the Rambam. So that's what that's based on. Some kind of a old statue. Anyways, Rabbi Shimon Levi, I'm a spell Shiyichrach, Achis Pakaku. I don't know, by the way, where that's a modern Hebrew word, a pakak. I don't know where else. I don't know if it appears in Torah anywhere. So Rashi says she's pakaku. Here's what Rashi says: sheyiru hapakokim, sheyiru hapakokim. It's a little bit different. That you bend over until you can see the vertebrae. Heim haksharim, and they are the ksharim. The vertebrae are the ksharim. K'moishe shaninu, because we have a Gemara in Baba Basra, bekinim ubegafonim min hapekak shelamala. That if you take a grape, the Gemara says the pakak, if you notice on every stem, so there's a little attacher, there's a little bulge, and that's called the pakak in the world of grapes. Vihi hakesher shecholol hakana pakuk visasum sham, says Rashi. So what are the we're not explaining here what chulios are. Chulios probably. Although chulios, I don't know why they're called chulios, but chulios sounds like what? Chol. Yeah. Chulios is a plural of chol. So like what's one chulios? Chulia. Right. No, I know, but I'm saying what's the... So, but he's talking here not about that. He's talking about sheyispakaku. What's the taich of yispakaku? Hakesher shecholol akana pakuk v'sasum sham. So the vertebrae of a person are poseach. It opens and closes. So since it opens and closes, so Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi wants to say that when you're bending down for Shmona Esrei, it has to be, how far do you bend? Ad sheyispakaku. His chaverim argued on him. And they said that you don't need that. You don't need so much achi spakaku. You can nod with your head v'dai. The Gemara says later. It's enough. Baruch atah Hashem. So there's a big difference, like Slobodka and Navardik here. There's a big difference in how your attitude towards Hakadosh Baruch Hu is. I'm just saying, but is it? Achi spakaku, like I'm really bowing down. This is a really serious thing, or do you walk into davening and when you nod, it feels like an equal. When you bow down, that's not like an equal. So the Sfardim, a lot of Sfardim have this minhag, even to a Rav. They're like doing a Koyer Mishtachvim, not a full Koyer, but it's also part of the where they come to shul also. But Shmona Esrei is yispakaku. So that's what Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said. I want to note, I don't know if any of the Mefarshim say this, but Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi also said earlier in Brachos, Asir la'adam leilech b'dalat amos b'koimas kufa.
In general.
B'koimas kufa. It should generally be. So obviously something with Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi had with his back here, that he felt it's usher to walk become a zakufa. Now we're all taught as children to try to walk to straighten up, and the truth is it's probably a nice thing to be straight. But Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said asher leilech b'koima zakufa. So koima zakufa is a very deep idea because a person, a human, a basar b'dam, a ben adam, I should say, is koma zakufa. So we're standing straight on two. Animals are on four. They're not bekoma zakufa. Even an ape, when he's walking, is walking on four. They need their hands to walk also. They're walking around like that. But even though they can stand, that's the closest thing. But they still have tails. But a human can be bekoma zakufa and walk around like that. The only other bria that was like that was the nachash hakadmoni. So nachash hakadmoni was bekoima zakufa, and the punishment is no more koma zakufa for you. You go like the nachash now. Well, you are nachash, but you go al b'chein chatelach. You're going to be the most spineless of all of the animals, most spineless. So it comes to like in this sense, the adam and the nachash are polar opposites. That the person is capable of complete koma skufa, and the snake is not capable at all of koma. The most it can do is apparently pick up its head. Now it's very interesting. I'll just make another point here in a second. Just another point that the Gemara also says that if you don't do your bows in Shmona Esrei, so your spine will turn into a nachash. And the Gemara also says that when you do your bow in Shmona Esrei, when you get up, you should get up kechavia, like a snake. So the snake, the spine, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Yesh b'zeh mashu, right? It's very chashuv. And the Shmona Esrei is all keneged the chulya, or the Shmona Esrei, and not sheyispakaku kol hachulyas. I'm going somewhere with this. I want to bring something out. What do you want to say, Leah?
But the nachash, when he stood, did he have a spine at that point?
Yeah.
And then it was taken away?
Yeah, it was taken away.
It was taken away.
Well, everything has a spine. But he's spineless. I mean, every dogs have spines, but not enough of a spine then for more than a second to
Snakes have spines? They do? Sure, they do.
I think everything has a spine. Otherwise, there would be no way for the.
The vertebrae have spines.
That's all they have, pretty much.
Yeah,
But it's a
whole body.
spineless spine.
Right.
But they don't have the co-op to be able to put themselves erect. Very flexible spine.
Right. I just want to give a quick anatomy lesson. I'm sure you know this, but I want to bring it out for the purpose of this shear here. That the spine, the way the system. First of all, there's a you have to be medayik when you learn, because there's the shidra, which is the spine, and there's the chut hashidra, which is the spinal cord. The spinal cord is not at least in Gemara, is not exactly the spine. It's two different things. It's very interesting, by the way, that if Hashem wanted to give us the ability to be upright, right, why don't you just put a pole back there? You know, like just make it a rod. It would have worked the same way. Okay, we wouldn't be as flexible, but at least we'd have good posture.
Wouldn't have herniated discs.
So it's very interesting how even in the English language, you know, like when a person has we say you have no backbone. You know, when a person has no backbone, you're spineless person. You know, or when we want to talk about, but if we be a man, stand up and defend yourself. Stand up for what's right. You know, so it's like it's interesting that the metaphor for koach is spine, right?
Uprightness, though.
Uprightness, chomamidus. Hashem's kifufim. So, from an anatomic point of view, I'm not a scientist. I'm just everybody knows that the way the body works. This is very important because I want to learn with you a grow. But what's important to understand, remind yourselves about anatomy, is that the way the body works is that there is a nervous system within the body, and the makar of the nervous system is in the head. And then those nerves travel through the spine, and then they go out to, in fact, I even printed out. Can we get a close-up shot of this? So, here's your spine. Well, it's not yours, but here's a spine. So what happens over here is here's your brain, which is the makar of the nervous system, and the nerves. This is biology. This is not Torah. The nerves travel through the spine. Here's your vertebrae, and here's your spinal cord, and the nerves travel through this, and every one of these nerves are doing something else and going someplace else into the body. This is not this is anatomy. This is not Kabbalah. In the Eastern old Masorah, not Jewish Masorah, so they have even more than this. They have a whole meridian system. But I'm talking biologically speaking, from an anatomy point of view, you have this the spine. The spine has 32 vertebrae, or 33. So this is 32 or 33 refers here. You see, if you look at the bottom, that probably this is the one that they're not clear if it should be called a vertebrae or it shouldn't be called a vertebrae. Basically, it's the tailbone. It's the tailbone. That never happened with humans. It does happen with animals. The difference between an animal and a human is what happens with your tailbone. That's whether your tailbone grows a tail or doesn't grow a tail. The Mefarshim say that that tailbone, by the way, is probably what the Gemara talks about when it says that the luz, that there's a luz on the bottom of your spine, and biologically it's an almond-shaped vertebrae. It's smaller than the vertebrae. It sort of sits. That's a machlokus where the luz is. But the pashut pshat is like Rashi. It was on the bottom of your spine, the tailbone. It's the tailbone. That's the pashut pshat, not up here. The Maral says it's up here. That's a big chiddush of the Maral. But if it's on the bottom, on the top, that's the part that doesn't decompose by tchias hamesim. It's very interesting. The Gemara goes further and said that I'm going to get back to this, but these 18 are really 19. So what is the Gemara asking? Why these 18 are really 19? Why? Because it's 32, 33. Meaning, why are you counting 18? Why don't you count 19? There's a shtickle vertebrae that maybe you should be counting. So they counted and they made the birchas haminim. Ad sheba shmula katan v'tikein birchas haminim. So he made the birchas haminim as keneged the 32 and a half. That half of it, which according to the Mefarshim is the luz, which doesn't decompose, which is a pella, because the birchas haminim is connected to the Rishoyim, and dafka, that's the one that's come b'tchias hamesim. So we have a lot of yediyas here. I want to get to the anatomy, but a lot of yediyas here. One is that if you don't bend this whole thing, and you spakaku chalachuliyah shibashidra, so this turns into a snake. This is the Gemara. I don't know if that's real or that's, but the simple shot is that the ability to bow down is an ability that the snake did not have in Eden. And if a person hasn't got the ability to bow down, so then your onesh is just like the snake's onesh is al gechon chatelach. And your spine you become spineless in the sense of not vertebraeless, but spineless in the sense you don't have the koach to stand up in front of Hashem. So when you will become jelly. You will become jelly if you. So you understand what's going on here? In other words, like if a person bowing down represents, I'm taking. In the simplest shot, before we say anything, deep or Kabbalistic here, the simple shot in bowing down is I'm machniya myself to you. That's why you bow down to somebody. You don't bow, and that's why we don't bow down to idols and things. But when you're bowing down, is the pshat is that I'm mevatel myself in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm acknowledging that you are greater than I. And if you can't do that, not if you can't bend down, you can't, can you touch your toes? That's not the point. If you can't do it spiritually, if you can't be mevatel, so now you're the same matzav of the Nachash was. The Nachash couldn't do that. I want to explain why the Nachash couldn't do that in a minute, but the Nachash couldn't do that. So you too are a Nachash. You too are a Nachash, and you too, when you're buried, your spine will become spineless. You'll become a Nachash. So it doesn't mean necessarily that literally it'll become a snake. I mean, you can dig somebody out. And there's a snake necessarily, I don't know. But what it does mean is that probably it means the spine will decompose, and probably it means that you have not done what you were supposed to do with your life, which is to be mevatel yourself. Yeah?
It's interesting, the Eastern cultures, they bound.
I'll get to the Eastern culture.
Okay.
I mean,
Avram's children they sent to the East.
it's very. I'll tell you what is interesting. Avram's children. We're Avram's children.
Right. Well,
but,
other
his
children.
maidservants' children.
Right.
But what is interesting is that by Avram Avinu, the word for tefillah was mishtachaveh. By the Akedah it says shvulachem poimach hamar va'ani va'nar nelcha ad koi v'nishtachaveh v'nashuva aleichem. Wasn't v'nishtachaveh, I'm going to daven, I'm going to bring a korban. Wasn't the lashon for davening and for bringing a korban in Avram Avinu's vocabulary was I'm going to bow down. I'll be machniya myself v'nashuva aleichem, and then I'll come back. As diametrically opposed to, let's say, Bilam, where it says Vayisyatzei val korbanai. Bilam stood perfectly straight and erect. Like, how do you want to see your spiritual leader? So Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says that, asur leilech b'koyma zekufa, meaning a person should always be in some state of bittul, in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, subservience to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And l'chol hapachos in Shmona Esrei ad sheis pakaku kol hachuliyah shebeshidra. Now let me just get back to my anatomy here for a second. The way it works is the nervous system, everything works from the nervous system. If your nerves are shot, it doesn't just mean you're nervous. It means that you don't have any touch. There's a neuropathic nervous problem. You can't see and you can't touch and you can't feel, and or lashon of the Chazal is kol ha'hergish ba'misha. The whole meaning of hergish, it's a nest, right? Hergish, beautiful. if you're tested for neuropathy or diabetic or whatever, the first thing they do is they stick needles into your fingers and into your toes to see whether you can feel it. Are you completely alive? Is your nervous system working to the extremities? Because that's where the first place it's going to go. So what happens is the nervous system, the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu brilliantly made the body, the nerves, the central nervous system goes from the brain through the vertebrae and then spreads out to the entire body. And what Chazal understood was that there are 18 of these 32, which are the main vertebrae, meaning the main, which there are, by the way, which are, in other words, and just like Shmona Esrei is divided up into parts, you have in the nervous system the cervical, the thoracic, the lumbar, and the sacral. There are different sections of what's going on, and it's all coming from the moach. And the Mekubalim speak a lot about the fact that what's happening here is that the moach is connected the Kesser in the Esser Spheros, and what's going on? There's the moach and 10 spheres lamala and then 10 spheres lamata. So I'll get more to that. I'm saying a lot of things, a lot of different ways, but I'm trying to make my point that it's important to understand. There was what chiropractors feel they can do. Is that what happens is if you're having a problem with your fingers, everyone thinks chiropractors give you a good massage. They don't deal with muscles, and they don't really deal with bones. What chiropractors do, I don't know if they do it effectively or not. That's a machlokus, a medical machlokus, but I'm not. I don't care about that. What I'm saying, their theory is correct. The theory is that if the nerves run through the chulios, and you have a problem with something, whether it's your heart or your hand or your foot or whatever, let's do an adjustment on the spine and basically separate so that instead of having chuya al gabe chuya, and crushing the nerve in between, let's make a little bit of space there, crack. So that's what's going on. They love the neck thing. But that's already very serious. The beginning of you look at it, that's the beginning of the nervous system. There, if you mess up, you mess up bad. I'm not condoning or against her. I go to chiropractors once in a while, but I find it helpful. But that's not the point. The point is it's important to understand what they do. It's not like, something hurts, can a chiropractor fix it? The point is that they possibly can, in an undangerous way, adjust the spine so that the nervous system works. So chiropractors are about the nervous system. They're not about the bones and they're not about the muscles, as opposed to an osteopath and other kinds of practitioners. So that's what's important. What's interesting to me is the 18 that Chazal picked out, the 18 nervous systems that Chazal chose out, and how those 18 systems are the basis for Shmona Esrei. And if we were really smart, which I hope we can become, we will understand how every one of the brachos of Shmona Esrei is connected a different nervous system. I want to just say something about East of Nanabaki in yoga a little bit, but there's a lot of different disciplines in yoga. So one of the disciplines, possibly the controversial one, is the Kundalini system. You're familiar, Gil? So the Kundalini system, most Jews, if they do yoga, they do the Asya system, which is basically physical exercise. The Kundalini system is a spiritual thing. It became very popular in America in the 60s. Gurus came from India and they taught this thing, and it's about enlightenment. But it's if you read about it, you can read about this in Jewish sources. For instance, in Rabbi Kaplan has a book on Jewish meditation. He speaks about it, and there's a famous fellow Michelson who's from Jew, and he speaks about it. But if you just know what Kundalini, what's very interesting is that it's all about the spine. This is fascinating. It's all about the spine, and it's all about getting the energy in your spine. But what they're saying is that the main energy, the physical energy of a person, is down here. Down here has to do with ejaculation, penile erection, all the that part, and also bowel movements. That's where your energy is. In other words, you get a lot of energy there, and you should take that and bring it up through your body, and then you're full of energy. So it's all about getting the spine to be perfectly straight and having the energy. This is even their meditation, but they feel that they have exercises, they probably do, that can actually crawl up the spine. The Jewish thing is you could do just about the same thing, but nothing's going up, it's going down. What's happening is you have the moach And the moach is giving energy through the chulias, like the nervous system does, and it's giving energy to the bottom of a person, to the core, and then to the bottom of the person. The 18 here becomes very important. So what it's pretty much the opposite idea. Looks the same, but it's very much the opposite, because what's happening is you're not bringing sexual energy up through your body, you're bringing mind energy. It's mind over matter. You're bringing the mind energy, which is the makor of the neshama. You're bringing that, like if you'll view a person as like the Mekubalim, the Arizal writes, a person like a lightning rod. And when you're standing erect, you're getting from the spheres lamala, it's coming down through my body. So when I'm davening Shmona Esrei, what's really happening is it is a meditation. I'm not recommending people meditate per se, but I'm just saying this is the basic meditation of the Mekubalim. That what's really happening is I'm bringing in through my body the neshama, from the mind up, not from the bottom up. So it's actually the opposite of this of Kundalini yoga meditation.
Mind down.
Mind down. I'm sorry, is that what mind down? Now, how does it fit to be mishtachaveh in this scenario? So the way that works is that I'm bringing it in, but I'm understanding that all of my koach is not coming from me, kochem ba'otzem yadi. All my koach is not coming from down here and traveling up my spine, which is the whole yoga exercise. The whole exercise has to do with how to get the energy to go from your bottom to your top. That's the whole thing. What they've mastered, and I'm sure they have mastered. And if you read about it, by the way, which I have, they talk about, especially in the '60s, they spoke about how if you do this without a proper teacher, it could be extremely. You could have like a really bad trip. It's like a bad drug trip, because you're bringing. You could really get depressed, and you can get anxious and even violent. Think about what's happening over here, and again, they have a tradition that goes back a couple thousand years of how to bring this energy up to your brain. So what you're doing to your brain, it's like. But so what they say is it has to be done properly with the teacher, and you have to focus, blah blah blah. To be able to do it right. I don't think anybody should do it altogether. I think it's not just. It's worse than avodah zarah. It's connected the whole Yiddishkeit. I'm not you could do it. You could do the other kind of yoga. And speak this over with your practitioner, where you're going from top to bottom. And going from top to bottom is a different energy. That's a Jewish energy. And this is a direct conflict between the two. This is what the Sfarim already spoke about, the difference in meditation. So when you're mishtachaveh, there's no hishtachavoyos in yoga. But when you're mishtachaveh, the yoga is all about being longer and straighter. But what you're mishtachaveh is you're being machniah yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, I want to point out, we'll learn the Gra on Sunday, because I actually made copies of the Gra. If you want, you can even take it now. But the Sfas Emes writes, let me just leave you with this idea here. The Sfas Emes writes, and we learned this actually last week, that what the Nachash was saying, let's get back to the Torah here, what the Nachash was saying to Chava was, you don't have to listen to God to get your energy. You can eat from the Eitz Hadas, and you will be Kelokim, right? And what we learned was what that meant. Shamayim brought the Zohar. What that means is that in Shamayim there's the koach of the Sitra Achra and the koach of Kedusha. The way Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world, for his reasons, is that there are two options for generating energy in this world. You can get your energy from a makor of Kedusha, or there is a Sitra Achra, which I explained Lefi the Zohar is actually stronger energy. It's a more vibrant energy. People get much more excited when they're doing Averas than when they're doing mitzvahs. You know, the lulav is also connected to shidra. Mm-hmm. It's the spine, and you do 18 nanuyim. That's why you do 18 nanuyim with the lulav. Mm-hmm. It's a Shmona Esrei, azah, with your spine. And over there, you also, you have to, it's I'm just sorry, my head's all over the place. But lulav is the same gematria as Chaim.
Hmm.
68. And that's why there's a Tosfos that says the lulav hayavesh is puzzle. You can't use last year's lulav hayavesh puzzles because it has to be alive. It's not because it's not nice, not pretty. It's yavesh. It's dead. It's dead. That plant is dead. You know, it's dead. So once it's dead, you can't use it anymore because the whole thing is chaim. It's the shidra. It's the shidra. When you're doing 18 nonillion with this, you can wave around a dead plant, but it's dead. You know, this is alive. It's green. It's beautiful. That's what the lulav is. The back to the nachash, because this is all the same kapara. The nachash said to Chava that why do you have to take your energy from the makor Kedusha? I got an idea for you. Look at me. I'm standing straight. I'm getting my energy. I'm also walking around here in the Gan. It's not just you. It's me. You think you're the only one? Me too. I'm getting my energy from the Sitra Achra. Don't listen to Hashem. Listen to me, and you will get your energy from the Sitra Achra. And at that point, says the Zohar, Adam and Chava ingested the Sitra Achra. The Sitra Achra wasn't no longer out there. The Sitra Achra is now inside. And now we have that Bechira Chavshis going on within us. And the Bechira Chavshis is not only do I want to do good or do I want to do bad, we explained last week, it's where do you want to get your energy from? Do you want to get your energy from a Makar Kedusha, or do you want to get your energy from a Makar of Tuma? If Tuma is all about, we learned this last week, I'm just chazering, Tuma is all about Sitra Achra. Something is Tameh, it's getting its energy from the Sitra Achra. Something is Kadosh, it's getting its energy from Hashem, from the Makor of Kedusha. That's the Bechira that we have to make. I copied down the words of the Sfas Emes. Hakriya, when you bow down in Shmona Esrei, gentlemen, Mechaperes al Anochash. It's Mechaper al Anochash. Umevatel, listen to this, Chelak HaSitra Achra Sheba Adam. Sfas Emes, he says, Kach kibalti mimari v'zikni. Whoever that was. Kedusha Harim was his father, I don't know his grandfather. He was makabel in his family, the Ger Rebbe. Sfas Emes, that when a person does a hishtachava, the kavana is not just a simple bittul lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are exchanging energies from the Sitra Achra to the Makar of Kedusha. Pirush, I'm quoting Sfas Emes. Hanocha shishtamesh b'sitra achra, v'lechein al gechoin chotelech. This is what happens with the Sitra Achra, it dies. The reason we die and become tameh is because we ate from the Eitz Hadas, and because we took this Sitra Achra within us. The luz is not going to die, it's not going to be decomposed, that's going to become b'tchias hamesa. Needs why the birchas aminim is good, but that's the part that's going to last forever. But we ingested the Sitra Achra. When a person does a kriya, nachnu kairim, so mevatel chelak haSitra Achra sheba adam. Isn't it amazing? What?
It's the kriya or the return to.
Oh, so what happens is. Anu kairim levatel hakoima zekufa, says the Sfas Emes. Anu kairim levatel hakoima zekufa shel hanachash v'imloi gairoloi k'nachash. And that's why if you don't do a hishtachava, you end up being the nachash. So we have a deeper idea here that not only do you become spineless because you've postured in front of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, but not only that, it's a deeper thing than that. You had the Sitra Achra which was ingested into mankind. You made the wrong choice and you said, it's all coming from bottom up. This is where my koach is. I can straighten myself out. You're nachash. And you can be Elohim, you can feel godly with this. You can feel very holy and you can feel godly and you can have a lot of power. Possibly the Koach HaTuma is stronger than Koach HaKedusha. So we have again, Avram Avinu Mishtachaveh B'noshuv Aleichem by Bilam, by Yisyatsev Al Korbanoi. He stood up straight. He was coming from a whole different place. His carbon was coming from the Sitra Achra. When the Gemara says that like Kambi Yisrael Kamosh Oida, Lumas Olam Kamba Bilam, but it's coming from a different place. It can't be that Bilam achieved what Moshe Rabbeinu achieved. It can't be that Bilam's carbon was the same as Moshe Rabbeinu or as Avram Avinu. That can't be. Ma bein Talmidei Avram Avinu lo Talmidei Bilam Harosha. There's a difference here because you're posturing, and Bilam ends up, the Sitra Achra loses. What you have there between Bilam and Moshe is a machlokes, which I don't even know if Moshe knew about the whole story, except for that he wrote it in the Chumash. I don't know if he knew it while it was going on. It was the Ruach HaKodesh that he knew that there was such a thing as Bilam. He didn't come and say, okay, we're heavyweight championship of the world. He was there on someplace in Moab, but he was looking from afar. But what was going on here was the machlokes between the Nachash and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Nachash and Adam. We did the Nachash thing, and we need to be mechaper on it. So this is what's happening over here with the Shmona Esrei. So Keneged Yud Ches Chuliyos is what we're doing with our whole chiyus. When we're talking about the 18 vertebrae that matter, so what we're talking about is the 18 systems in the central nervous system that matter. Shemimenu Lashon of the Grosh, Shemimenu Ba Kol HaHergish Sheba Adam. That everything that we can touch and feel, everything that we are in terms of if we're alive, really, if we're not completely neuropathic. So sometimes they check your feet and your fingers, and it's like going to stick a pin in somebody's head and see what's going on. Like I think there are neuropathies in the brain sometimes. Like, don't you have any feelings? Don't you have any how far? But the idea is like this. The idea is, by the way, as somebody as non-Kabbalistic, if you will, as Rav Hirsch writes, that the derech of davening, he writes in Tefillah, is that you bow down, and when you come up with a whole new energy, and that's the energy of Hashem. Hashem zokev kefufim. The Hirsch Siddur, that's what he says in that bracha. Hashem zokev kefufim. We bow down to be mevatel our energy, which according to the Sfas Emes, if I can mix into this, is the energy of the Sitra Achra. And Hashem zokev kefufim, now come back up, and now you're coming back, and Hashem zokev kefufim. So what Rabbi Shua ben Levi was saying actually is that Asr leilach dal and amish became a skufa. You're walking, you're not davening, you're not doing amidah. You're not right. You're not doing amidah. You're leilach. You're going through your life. Bekoma zakufa. Koma skufa. You feel good. You feel very energetic. Do you know? Like if you sit straight for a second, try this. If you sit straight for a second, you have a whole different level of energy. 3 seconds. Isn't it true? It's an amazing thing to know. It's a big Yetzirah not to sit straight, but if you sit straight, what you've done basically by sitting straight is you've opened up all your nerves. The same thing happens. I read this that when you bend over and mispake kol hachuliyah shivim, it's really good, interesting. The exact same thing happens. You're also full of energy, but the thing is that you're taking the energy and doing what with it. So you're getting a lot of energy. You have 2 choices, and this is the choice of the Jew. That you can get the energy of the Yisyatsev al Karbanai of Bilam, which would not bow down. I don't bow down to Hashem, but this is what I'm doing. So he got his energy. And that's the energy of the Nachash, and that's the energy that the Nachash stood straight to. I'm also standing straight. Look at the posture of the Nachash. How many vertebrae does the Nachash have?
A lot.
Uncountable. That's uncountable.
See the skeletons a lot.
Yeah, you see the skeletons, tons, but it can't stand up straight because there's a chut hashidra which is not working for him. But the nervous system is so flexible that you can cut him in half, and he's still going on the other side. You ever chop a worm in half? But the thing is like this, that's the Sitra Achra. So when we're bowing down, and I'm saying this only to Hakdama of what I want to learn, because what happens here, let me just give this Nakuda here, that we're learning about the spine and the vertebrae and how that's connected the Yud Ches Brachos, and what the Hishtachava, I'm just saying what the Hishtachavaya of Shmona Esrei is. And there were those that bowed down the whole, in the Gemara, that bowed down the whole thing. So that's enough Sekiyura to do that. You don't do that.
But a melech has to, right?
A melech. Because a melech is in danger of Ram Levavai. But the idea of let's leave it with this practical note. We have the Shmona Esrei. The idea of the Shmona Esrei, the kavana, besides for the kavana zamilim, the kavana is to take the energy which HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you, have it flow through our body. Is this too new agey for you? It's just, I think it's wonderful, by the way. I just, have it, just, if you could just have it flow through your body, and you stand straight, amita. And the best way to do this is with kemalach. A malach has his feet together, and a malach is having all the energy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now the question is, straight at the beginning, am I getting that energy from top down, or am I getting it from bottom up? Am I getting it from the Sitra Achra, or am I getting it from the Makara Kedusha? So the very first thing we do is is you bow down. And when you bow down, the Sagidna Kame, Umakame the Kararaisa. Sagidna Kame is in the times, in the olden days, it was Pisha Jadayim Raglayim. So, but you're bowing down to say, my energy now is coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when you stand up, and this is fascinating, I'll leave you on this cliffhanger. Why do you get up like a snake?
Except for Moed.
Okay, except for Moed. Right? It says you should get up kechavya.
Yeah.
Why are we bringing a snake into this? I've just gotten rid of the snake.
And everything has a purpose, so use the good part of the snake.
By the way, talking about yoga, they call what we call let's say the luz or the tailbone, they call it the snake. So the yoga calls it. It's called the snake. It's serpent. It's a serpent. There's also a serpent brain that the biologists talk about over here, like the Makar of the Eight Sahara, the survival thing. Like I could, But they call it the snake. But what's getting up probably in the simple shot is exactly like Rabbi Avram is saying, that you worship Hashem b'chol levavcha, b'chol nafshecha, b'chol meidach. We have this already koach. We have the koach. So if you have the koach, do what the snake should have done. Do what the snake should have done. Now that we've ingested the Sitra Achra, the Nachash, come up like a snake. That's the only thing a snake can still do. So do what the snake should have done and could have done, and then we're coming up in a remarkable bria, which is somewhat energized by the Sitra Achra, or better than energized is we're sanctifying the Sitra Achra. In other words, Ezu Gibor HaKoiveshes Yitzray. So it's just such a beautiful thing that we can take the energy of Ra, this is a little bit Kundalini, but you can take the energy of Ra and you can harness that too. You can paint the Syrian takes green. You can do it. You can take that energy and Avodas Hashem. You can use that for Avodas Hashem also. This is a chiddush nifla of the Gemara. Instead of just being mevatel, don't be ascetic and don't be a nazir and don't
use it.
Use it. So you have it. Use it. And that's a huge koach right there. So what I want to talk about on Sunday, if you want the Greg, you can have an hour. I'll give you we need to parallel now the Mishkan, because the Mishkan has the same 18. And it's Gaval should be Gaval. The Mishkan has the same 18. And the Mishkan was b'diyuk keneged the guf. And the Gra in the Sefer HaYetzirah, the Gra wrote a Pirush of the Sefer HaYetzirah. The Gra wrote Pirush about things as far we don't even know about these Gras. If you're a Gra. Agav Orcha, he wrote a Pirush of the Sefer HaYetzirah. This would be it would take a Machona Mekubalim 10 lifetimes to write what he wrote over here. It's unbelievable what he writes. But he describes, the little bit that I can understand, he describes the parallel between the Yud Ches Chuliyos and the Mishkan, and then of course the Olam Yonos and the Spheros. So we need to get a blackboard here. We have one. I just have to use it of how this whole thing works. So it's not just, see where we're going. We're not just in a circle. It's pretty sophisticated linguist. It's not just about the circle. It's about the sophistication of its parts and how everything is and how it works in Chai. And that's why it's so important that Havul Hashem, David HaMelech incorporated this 18, because 18 is the key number here of life sources. Havul Hashem b'nei Elim, that's the Avos, right? Think about Shmona Esrei, with the Elim. Havul Hashem kavod b'yais. That Havul Hashem is the Shmona Esrei. That was their clue. He was doing Shmona Esrei. He wasn't just coincidentally picking an 18 Askaras. He was Havul Hashem and Eluv, start with the Avos. When you're saying this Shabbos, think about Shmona Esrei. You'll see Shmona Esrei into the Havul Hashem. I'm just, there's no time because I'm just being maramis to a lot of different things, but it's Hashem will be go.
On the next, I see advertised craniosacral therapy. Is that based on what you were talking about?
Which therapy?
They call it
Craniosacral's here.
I know. Sacrum is where you sit.
Right, this is the sacral nervous
Right,
system, but you
understand.
adjust it from
But
here.
it's talking about craniosacral
Yes.
therapy, which seems to me to be a pella, but from what you said today, maybe that's the core.
Well, it's easy.
I don't
It's easy
understand.
to understand biologically how it works. You know, what's so interesting. I sound like a bucky. I'm not. But what's interesting about it is by doing cranial work. So it's down here, right? But that's what's releasing the energy into your brain, which is stopping you from getting depressed and stopping you from having anxiety. So it's interesting that you're working here, but it's not going from here to here. It's going from the bottom of your spine, the luz, the birchas haminim. What you're doing there is cholavavcha, bringing it up. So it's really it's not just, all these things are very. These are neurologists would tell you that these are when I taught. I taught Hilchos Nida to a group of endocrinologists, and one of them was, believe it or not, a neurological endocrinologist. Only Jews. Run a, like what can I get a degree in now? But and he was this was years ago. He was explaining to me how the neurological system and the endocrinological system is just like unbelievable, But it's all about the nervous system and the spine. In other words, the glandular system and all, because without nerves you don't have endocrine glands, you don't have any kind of glands. It's all being affected by the nerves, and that's where the action is. The action is in the chulias. I'll give you one hint while you're standing here. What the Goin says, which I love, is that it's not about the chulias at all. It's not about the vertebrae at all. It's about the nesivos, the 32 nesivos that go between the chulias. The Goin points out the vertebrae themselves is nothing. It's the nervous system that we're talking about. The difference between the Goin and what everybody else learns is, are we talking about the spine, the chutta shidra, or the shidra? That's what we're talking about. And according to the Goin, yesh lamed beis nesivos bein hayud ches ha'ela. And that's where he shows you in the Beit HaMikdash you also have that.
That's very simple. I can tell you,
Lulav. Lulav.
I can tell you the outside of the spiritual realm, the physical realm, when you engage your core, let's say, if you say your core is the middle of your six-pack, in order to engage your core, in order to engage your core, you have to engage your pelvic floor.
That's right.
Right, which is your lowest muscle. And that now, as I can't tell you.
But it's all down up.
Right. So, but I'm saying that's dafka what's engaging the strength.
Right.
Of that.
That's all of yoga.
Martial arts is the key.
No, it's all of yoga. It's all of yoga is bringing yourself up.
Where's the Gita Nasha in this?
There's a thing in the world of chiropractic or whatever, in that the alternative world. There's a thing called the Alexander technique. You know what that is? So the Alexander technique.
Making yourself long.
Well, yeah, like if you imagine
a
a string and you build your posture that way. This is also very deep because it's opposite of yoga. The yoga people can't stand the Alexander technique because the Alexander technique is like if you figure your spine is like this, you pull it up from the top like that, and it's like so. If you'll always imagine like your head is the same weight as a bowling ball. See what that's doing to your back and to your spine. So keep it up. But the whole energy of the Alexander technique is a crazy thing because this was an opera singer. Alexander was an opera singer that he stood in front of the mirror for hours a day, figuring out how if he stood this way or stood that way, he could sing better. Like
Really?
total vain, like vanity. Like he was just and he worked out that if his head is directly on top of his shoulders, and he developed a technique to do that, he would be able to sing better.
Project
But what the yogas don't like about it, because they're also into posture, is that that's starting from the head. That's going down. They don't like that. The whole idea is to bring that energy up. That's why you're sitting on the floor always.
That's what the lose is like. The lose is here versus here. It just doesn't, seems like it should be here. The Moach, we say, it gives always the call to everything else. Then why would the lose start from down?
Because if the luz is that last piece, which is the 19th bracha,
Yeah.
to the Berachos HaMinim, it's down here. It's in
But
the lower parts.
But in all, hashkafically, it seems like.
No, I think Ashkavalei should be on the bottom.
Why? But that's.
But the Maral says it's on the top.
Yeah, no, I understand, but we said with, you just said the power from.
Why would the
top to
Berachos
down.
HaMinim be on top, closer to the head?
I mean, but it was, the lose was before the Berachos HaMinim that way, right? So I mean, like,
What do you mean?
I mean,
Well,
we've
there was
heard
always
the lose-
19.
No, what I'm saying, but the lose, they attached the lose to the, is that, it seems to me that the lose was there right before there was.
The
a
luz
Berachos-
is either the tailbone or the brainstem.
Right.
Those
It seems like
are the
if-
two
if
choices.
The lose is where we get reincarnated from, and it seems like the head gives hashpah to the whole body, because it should be up here.
Maybe here.
No, it's case HaMesim is me'afar for me. Starts from the bottom up. That's it needs to be. Look, you can opine as you will. But all the Mefarshim say it's on the bottom, except for the Maral is on top of one on
There's people
the
who do the Handela thing too, like this. You should like this.
I never saw anybody do that.
I know I've seen too. Because
Oh,
your
I-
eyes, and you look with the eyes, the brain, the ears.
I don't do any of that.
I never saw the loose.
Is anybody connected
Size
to get an
name.
asher to any of this?
Elbow.
Get an asher?
See, that does is a sciatic nerve.
It's not, but the nerve, it's not like,
It's very interesting how that fits in the sciatica.
where is, I mean, I don't know my anatomy well enough, but if the fact that we
Ask
can't,
Josh, he
the
does.
fact that we can't, the fact that we can't have
You
it.
don't want to learn about.
I'm just saying, it would
There's
seem,
this Breslauer guy, a yoga teacher in Beit HaMikdash, Kolber. If you want to do some really good stuff for your body, you go to him. I walked in there. The first time I ever walked in there, so he's got this.
He's a
skeleton-
chiropractor?
No, he's a yoga teacher.
Oh.
But he's getting a degree in anatomy. He's getting a degree. Breslauer guy was when you walk into his living room, he's got this skeleton standing there. You know, like it's not a real skeleton, you've seen a skeleton.
Yeah.
So the first time I walked in, I said, "Is that what happened to the last guy?"
Look at his posture.
Well, because I heard from a Bucky that he's like one of the biggest. I heard from a doctor that he's one of this guy Kohlberg, one of the biggest experts in anatomy in the here in Beit HaMikdash.
Eliezer, you going my way or?
interesting. That's what I remember.